And in three, two, one, now.
It's your boy Stevie Jobber. It's your boy Dangerous Dude. The Dangerous Jobbers podcast. Play the one. The boy Stevie Jobber. Dangerous Dude. Stay dangerous.
All right, and we're back.
Mhm.
So moving on from this segment, a little bit of wrestling news, and then we'll tackle the Mania card as is, um, as it's growing pretty large. Before we
As
do
of
our
today.
big, as of today, before we do our large WrestleMania prediction, in a few weeks, we'll do this and just see how we feel about the card so far. I remember us having a prediction, or you rather maybe having a prediction early on that it may be the most lackluster Mania of the year. So I want to get our feelings on that later just to see where that's mapping out for us. But a few things before that. How do you feel about Danhausen?
Um, the Danhausen stuff's been pretty funny, as opposed to what I thought it was gonna be, which was I was weary about it. I didn't know what it was gonna be, but from the looks of where it looks like they're going, it looks like it could be entertaining. I still don't see him winning any titles on the roster. I don't see him doing anything of that significant, but I could see him having some memorable moments and some entertaining moments that could make him somebody who's around for a little while.
Hmm. I think, I think had our truth not been re-signed, well, even with our truth being re-signed, but I think the signing of Danhausen was to have someone to maybe secure that spot of our truth as a utility player
Hmm.
for comedy, for the comedy purpose. Now, our truth is there, and he's a tag champion, which we can or cannot get into, but um, I like how they're using Danhausen, and I definitely think in maybe has it been 30 days,
Just about.
and maybe they're just their first month they have. I don't want to say completely utilized Danhausen and benefited from him immediately more than Tony Khan, but I will say in a matter of maybe a week, he felt just as big, if not bigger, than he was over there.
Yep.
Uh, and they've used him cursing people in enough ways for it to be now, something everyone says with him. They went from booing him to now, raving whenever they see Danhausen on the screen, translating that over to I Show Speed. I think they've just, before we get to what he can do in the ring, I think they laid a great premise for using Danhausen's character the best way possible.
Yes.
Um, to which I do often wonder, is Tony Khan looking at the rest of the roster like, man, who am I wasting financially? Because the fact that they saw all that in Danhausen in a month does make you look at the roster and the guys they're not using and go, whose money just lying around over here because we don't know what to do with it? You know? I don't know. Um, give me your. Have you seen Lio Rush?
I seen some.
The new Lio Rush.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. I think they've only had it for like 2 weeks. But creepy, over. Do you pop for it? Do you not?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if this is a credit to him or maybe this is just my own thoughts of what I know Lio Rush can do.
Hmm.
I don't say this often about things in wrestling, but it scared the shit out of me. It was like you gave Cat Williams bath salts and put him in a gymnastics class. That's literally what came to mind when I seen it. It was like, okay, Cat Williams just did bath salts and is leaving gymnastics class. That's exactly what it felt like to me. It scared the hell out of me. But again, I don't know if that's a good thing based off of his work or his character work, or if that's a bad thing that it was just genuinely scary. Like part of me was a little bit concerned and a little bit like, damn, really? You just did that? You did a whole leap of faith from man of the hour to bath salt Cat
Hmm.
Williams. Like, I guess I want to see more? Question mark?
So
I don't
you're
know.
you're not the first one to be. You're definitely not the first one to be confused by it. I think I've seen Lio Rush's Blackheart character before, but I believe it's just it's sometimes it really is the little things that matter.
That wasn't the Blackheart Lio Rush. That was something else.
So let me explain for the audience. Um, Lio Rush for has had a bit of a Gemini phase, right? Where he is Lio Rush, he is the braggadocious, 24, 20, however old he is, piece of gold. He's the man of the hour, but he does also have a running gimmick of the Blackheart, which is more shown less TV, more indies. Um, but it's usually, face paint. It usually comes with hair. It usually comes with, all of those other elements. So I say it to say that in the time where Lio Rush was probably failing as a TV character in AEW, um, and they were putting together whatever they were putting together with the crew, I don't know who allowed him or who, I don't even know if it was someone allowing him or how we stumbled upon letting the Blackheart gimmick just go. Um, because he was involved in a crew that I haven't seen on TV anymore since that debuted. But the Blackheart gimmick, sans hair, okay, no face paint, just the uh oh god, what do you call them? Just the
Contacts?
uh just the contacts and the black tights and all of the other theatrics. It's crazy how it looks much scarier with less effort.
Yeah.
Because now you just get how ridiculous Lio Rush's acting is, and all of those ridiculous facial expressions, and the moves that look freaky in the Blackheart character now look way, way freakier because you you do believe a little bit more that he's a crazy person because it takes less of the gimmick away and more of the threat level in a way, more of the intimidation factor in a way.
Yeah, it's like the old saying sometimes in wrestling less is more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's might be the case here because there's no face paint, there's no hair, there's no anything crazy. It's just the contacts and the movement and the facial
Mm-hmm.
expressions. So that's why I was like, it kind of scares me, but I get it, and I think I need to see more.
Right.
I think I want to see more, which is also scary. But it's it's one of the things that's still a little bit of an unknown. I I,
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
I hope they if they do decide to capitalize on it, I do hope they have a good or I Leo has a good idea of who he wants to put this character up against because like I said, creative is a little untrustworthy over there, so you kind of have to know who fits your shtick. So I do want to see more. I am glad that these made these little changes to make the gimmick more appealing. And while it does leave a lot of questions, um, I will be watching.
Yeah.
I will be watching. Moving on to less creepy, a little more indie before we get into the WWE stuff, but still kind of WWE stuff. Shayna Baszler has been reported for Josh Barnett's Bloodsport, and she will be up against the new Nattie, the low key legend Nattie Neidhart. And in another world, this is a classic bout. I mean, I'm sure it will be in Bloodsport because it'll be more indie and they'll make it what it's supposed to be. But in terms of what it could mean with a good story and a good backing and some money behind it, other than just good booking, this is a match I feel like is you. I kind of need to be there for, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's not gonna go anywhere, just because it's a match. I feel like in this place, people would have really wanted, and it does suck that we don't get a Shayna on an AEW or a Shayna on a WWE when you have someone like Nattie and you have someone like a Marina Shafir on an AEW. But it'll be great to see Shayna and Nattie in Bloodsport.
Yeah, and I don't think this is a bad thing for any of the parties involved. I think this actually benefits both of them because it's at a blood. I think Bloodsport's the best place to do it because Bloodsport is known to be cagey. It's known to be violent. It's known to be as close to real as you can get in a sense. And with Shayna, with her currently just being a backstage hand more than in ring, and Nattie with the character she has now, I feel like this could only elevate both of them. If you go out there and you see them both performing great, that only elevates Nattie on the roster status, maybe pushing her towards the IC title or maybe even a world title scene. Who knows? And then Shayna, people might see her and WWE could think, damn, she could still do that even after having however long she's been off. We might need to reel her back into the show. Or
Mm-hmm.
AEW sees it and AEW goes, she could still do that. We might need to reel her in and have her do something with Marina or have her just do something here in general. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you go wrong either way on this. I feel like it's going to benefit both of them. It's going to turn out great for both of them. And we could potentially see Shayna come back somewhere in some capacity. So I have no qualms. I'm excited for this and I want to see how well they perform.
Mm-hmm. I gotta look up if this is Shayna's first wrestling appearance since being let go. It could be. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think in the rest of the news I have is kind of all ties together. I just wanted to give a general thought of where I'm at on the bloodline stuff. Um, across all the family members
Um,
outside of at least WWE base.
so I'm not really even looking at this as bloodline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 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 strictly looking at this as the Roman Punk story. It's not even the bloodline stuff. Like, sure, you have two members of the bloodline or the former bloodline that are kind of in the Roman camp because they mentioned the uncle and, Roman. I don't know why they feel like they need to have some kind of backup with Roman when you really don't. They have their own thing they have to worry about. They don't have a wise man anymore, so it's like it doesn't make sense. And then you have the wise man going back at it with them, so it's an odd thing. I feel like if they could just differentiate, let Roman do his thing, let the Usos do their thing, it would make a whole lot more sense, and it wouldn't feel like you're trying to intermingle two and a half storylines together. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you have an awkward It's like you have an awkward square and not every dot connects.
So it feels jumbled for you right now.
Yeah, it's like Roman has the Usos, Roman's dealing with Punk. The Usos are upset with Punk, but the Usos also have to deal with the Vision. And then like the Vision also has to deal with the Usos, but then the wise man of the Vision is dealing with Brock, who's dealing with Oba. It's like it's a weird Venn diagram of stuff, and the dots are like going all over the place. I feel like they should just relax, hone in on each specific one individually, and not have it feel connected, because you also have LA Knight in the mix somehow, and it's like it's weird. You have 37 pieces for one story when you it's odd.
Yeah, you know where I'm at a place where I'm waiting to see where all the chips fall. Because
Yeah.
it seems like I don't want to reach, but it feels like for everyone but the honorary Oos, even then maybe it feels like there's a return to form coming. At least the way that they're booking things lately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I mean by that is you get, the Jay and Jimmy intertwining with the CM Punk thing, which say yeah, you can be, I don't know, you can be confused by it. It is a little confusing. I still don't even know that Punk said something disrespectful about him per se,
No.
but that's neither here nor there. It was enough for the story they're trying to build. And I guess if you're going to be a WWE fan, there's just some things you don't think about. So, so in that respect, um, I see it as booking a return to form because all of the bloodline people, and I don't say this is, let me preference it with, I'm not saying this as the guy looking at the story. I'm saying this as what are the guys in the back trying to get across? Where are we trying to go with this? And I feel like that booking wise, you can see them trying to return to a form of Bloodline universe because
Mm-hmm.
I do believe they're going to put the belt back on Roman. But I think, Roman is doing his LeBron James shtick. If you're a basketball fan, he's essentially going to the GM, whoever books and going like, this is the plays we need to make. This is the team I want to build. This is how we want to set it up. If I'm gonna be here, this is how I want to carry the team. This is how I want to build it.
Yeah.
So I see the signs of, LA Knight tells Jay, uh, you're starting to sound like Roman. I see Solo, the MFTs over there still dealing with the Wyatts, but also possibly breaking from Solo as the right hand man for him is having his thing with Nakamura. And they're starting to get into a squabble. And then Thomas says, you starting to sound like Roman. Before Solo can even react, we move to another Samoan. And I started to get two things. I gathered where Sami Zayn was in his life also, where it seemed like a snap was coming for him. And then, of course, we'll get into the trick match later. But I think that plays into some bloodline stuff as well
Mm-hmm.
because of Sammy's morale, um, and where his head's exactly at. But it feels like all of the key bloodline members are starting to get to this place of sounding like the bad guy, but realizing that no one else kind of gets it. Because my second thing was, it does seem like they're trying to build all these people at the same time. There's a lot of stories going on simultaneously, and I'm willing to let that rock because I think the key moment is the second thing, which is what's the matter with sounding like Roman? Because they don't say the same thing twice for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you kind of mean by that? I mean, like, when I think of sound like Roman in context, it's supposed to be negative. It's supposed to mean I would imagine that you don't want anyone else to have anything or that you're being a little too aggressive or whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I see is this. What I see is Solo understanding the game. Leverage is titles. It is WrestleMania season. If you don't have a title, you don't necessarily make the card. It's hard to make the card even with a title. And they haven't exactly been having the best year to get on a card. So, in a sense, yes, he should keep the lantern. And yes, in a sense, they did cost him the spot on WrestleMania by losing the tag titles. And yeah, if you're going by wrestling math, Solo's absolutely right to be pissed because y'all might not get anything now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I do sound like Roman because I know how the place works. And as far as Jay's thing, totally separate thing. But the principle of why are we acting so cordial when it's go time is it's WrestleMania season.
Mm-hmm.
He said something disrespectful. Yeah, it's go time, man. I don't understand what the problem with sounding like Roman is.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that leads to a place where the bloodline kind of runs itself.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being one big ego that everyone has to bow under, it might be an ego checking situation where all parties work in favor of each other, right? Because Roman has to work this angle where he's trying to be diplomatic. He has to think of it from all angles, but he don't have a wise man.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to him for him to be cautious, but have somebody that's on go. And Jay is by all sense an all energy guy.
Yeah.
But Jay can't be main eventer because we all know, especially now, his brother was a much better talker, and it's Roman is much more of a complete package. So they complete each other as a tag team. That's a great return to form, but also it's easy for Jay to play the right hand man now because he knows what it takes. He knows Roman's right, and he knows Roman can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can press the button on Roman like he did in the Punk story, and we can kind of have a situation where Sammy, now being a United States champion, could fall in line, or Solo, whichever have you, into a line where suddenly, like, everyone's saying, you sound like Roman, you sound like Roman, and they're like, there's no problem with that. Roman was right. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think we've said even earlier in the year, back when Roman and MJF were being introduced back into the title picture, that yeah, I think it's time for the top guy to hold the top guy belt. We've
Yeah.
been playing around a little too long, and I think the top guys were right. But give me
So
your thoughts on that. Yeah.
I'm gonna raise you this question then because you mentioned a couple names from the OG bloodline, but you left one out.
Hmm.
You said Jimmy. You said Jay could be the right hand man. You said Sammy could come back into the fold with the U.S. title. Roman returned to form as the top guy. You didn't mention Jimmy,
Well, Jimmy would be there, but Jimmy would be
but if you notice throughout this whole thing,
yeah.
Jimmy has been the more calm one. Jimmy has been the one to be like, relax, we ain't gotta do it like this. And Jay's been the one like, man, get him. And Roman has been the one getting him. So
Hmm.
I say that to raise you this question: how there was a point in time when Sammy was the guy, and well, not the guy. Sammy was the first guy to like defect from Bloodline and challenge Roman, and then Jay defected from Bloodline and challenged Roman. Jimmy never did. So is there a world that we put Jimmy there and make Jimmy that guy?
I think in the next chapter of the bloodline, absolutely.
because you
I
even just
think we've
said we're
determined
learning.
enough. Yeah.
Because you even just said we're learning now that Jimmy is the better talker than Jay.
Hmm.
So we gave Jay that main event run. Jay, for all intents and purposes, wasn't the greatest. Uh, so is there a place where we give it to Jimmy, and we know that since Jimmy's the better talker and probably has more cardio, we let Jimmy try.
I think there's a world. I think there's a world. I think we can return to form here if we do it right. Even though Sammy and again I know I'm reaching because I keep pulling Sammy into this, but it just seems very healed to me that Sammy would spend so much time talking to the main eventers, declaring such a main event intention
Mm-hmm.
to find his way into winning the United States title when he had no hope left of making the card. It just seems kind of heelish to me.
Okay.
A little bit selfish, which I think was kind of the premise of the whole Cody talk and Randy talk, is that you have to be a little bit selfish to get where you want. And I feel like that's almost the essence of everything Roman's bloodline stood for, was being selfish enough for the family to take things where they needed to go. Um, and in the premise of that, same thing with Solo and the MFTs. Yeah, I'm keeping the lantern. We're keeping these titles. We're having these things for the leverage we need to get where we need to go because these other things are done. So I feel like everyone's arriving to a place where they're feeling like certain things have to be done. And I feel like building Jimmy, to wrap all that up, building Jimmy as the guy that's always the calmer voice of reason, it really fits Jimmy into being the only guy to go, this isn't actually how things need to be done. And because everyone else is so caught up in the nostalgia of being at the top when Roman was at the top,
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy can be the only guy to be like, it's not, you know what I mean? We're turning back into everything we hated. So I believe there's a world to build Jimmy for that. There's a world to build Jimmy as the guy to beat Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all right, so we're capping. We're at I think almost 55 now. Let's do the WrestleMania card as it is. And then if it goes too long, we'll maybe split it into two. Um, okay, so let's get through the general ones we have feelings about, small feelings about, and then maybe touch on the bigger ones as they come. Um, how do you feel about Jade and Rhea?
I don't think this match was the match that needed to happen. And I say that for both women. I think I get that you need to have Rhea on a Mania card, but I don't think Jade was the person for it. I think this match should have been Jade versus Jordan. I think
Jordan
Rhea,
Grace.
Jordan Grace. I think this should have been Jade Cargill versus Jordan Grace. I think it was the perfect time for it, perfect opportunity. You started to plant those seeds and it never came to fruition. I don't think Rhea needed Jade, and I don't think Jade needs Rhea. So that's how I sit on it.
Man, you. I think you pose an interesting perspective. Um, I think much like, and this is why it's weird for me because I feel like that is a lot of the argument we had in previous years with the whole Chad Sammy Gunther angle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I kind of feel like you kind of feel like Rhea stepped into a table that Jordan Grace may have already set.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing like Sammy did with Chad. I felt like Chad should have been there, and Sammy got it. I think it's the same thing.
And to all of your credit, I do believe a 3-on-1 situation, removing Rhea and putting in Jordan Grace as the juggernaut gimmick
Mm-hmm.
does great work for Jordan and Jade. It completes Jade, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and until she reaches the wrestling ability of everyone else, it is kind of a you want as many things around her that make her look better as possible. And BFAB and Michin need the rub, but I think it taking three people to beat down a Jordan Grace does nothing but help Jordan Grace
Exactly.
and a build up to a WrestleMania spot. Like, man, Jade's already so huge, and it takes two more people to level the playing field with her and Jordan Grace. So I do believe that it would do tremendous to have that story with the person that may have set the table already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going to say for numbers and money and merch reasons, they probably swapped out Jordan Grace for Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
which is exactly what I think they did at WrestleMania 40 when he swapped out Chad for Sami Zayn. I definitely think they went with who was higher in merch sales.
Yeah.
Um, so I can do nothing but agree with you there. Um, but I hope for that reason that it does more for Jade, because I honestly don't feel like Rhea needed to be here. But this wouldn't be the first Mania that you kind of feel like Rhea found a way on the card
Just
through,
for name.
yeah, for namesake alone. So, that's a conversation for another day.
Everyone loves
Um,
mommy.
Speaking of people who might have made the card for their name alone, how do you feel about Liv versus Steph?
Best case scenario, in an easy way, you gave Liv the Rumble win finally after years of after coming in the last two or the last three, always getting so close but being so far. Finally giving it to her. The Stephanie Vaquer thing just made the most sense. You need to keep her on Raw. You need to keep her with her Judgment Day people. Um, Throwing her to Jade would have kind of just felt redundant and a throwaway, to be honest. So um, I don't have as high hopes for this match as other matches previous, but I feel like it could be a serviceable match, and it's gonna be it'll be the second best women's match on the card.
Mm. I raise you this. Would it have been so bad had creative said, we want to had already had the plan for Jade, that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to put a group on Jade with me, Chin, and B-Fab, and we're going to do this weird convoluted story where we're far enough in the pod now, where she beats their ass for weeks, and then they just decide to join her because they can't beat her. Would it have been so bad to have had Liv challenge Jade,
Mm-hmm.
to have had Jade have the same backstage conversations while the Judgment Day ladies were beating her ass? And then for BFAB and Michin to defend her and have it be this Judgment Day versus Jade and the Baddies Mania card, where it's not a six-man per se, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a bigger match feel because we know Liv couldn't beat Jade, so she had to have these other two chicks. But they're both, I guess, because it would paint Jade in a more babyface feel. But at the same time, I feel like that may have made a better story. Not maybe not better than the Jordan Gray story, but I say it to say, would it have been so much better? Would it have been so much better than Jade versus Rhea to have it be Liv versus Jade and have Stephanie just fight someone else?
Okay, so I'll give you that, but the only way I'll give it to you is if basically everything you just said. Only caveat: Jade goes over at Mania over Liv because we have a face turn and it's not from Jade, but it's from someone in Judgment Day. and that
Yes,
someone in Judgment Day be Roxanne Perez.
Perez. That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
No, now I wouldn't say Raquel, or Raquel, either
Okay.
one or the other.
Okay.
But I'm just saying Roxanne because Roxanne is the other Liv in a sense, and she's only really been heel on the main roster. And I think you could take Roxanne, throw her in any kind of situation to win a title, and she could win just because of how technical she is.
I believe that. I
But
believe that, but I
I'm
think
cool with
that'll
either
come
one.
later.
It could have been Roxanne. It could be Raquel. I'd be fine with either one, just so long as it's one of them, because I could see them
Are
both
you
being a world
calling?
champion.
Are you calling Liv to win against Steph?
Mm, no,
You calling Steph to win?
as of this current moment, yes.
Okay. I
If
want to
not,
argue.
so I'm gonna say Steph wins. But if Liv wins, Raquel is turning very soon.
Mm. Okay, I'm with that. I don't have a dog in the fight. Um, let's see. What's another low level one? AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch, IC Women's Championship. Who goes over? Why?
So remember when I said Liv and Stephanie have the potential to be the second best women's match on the roster or on the Mania card?
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the best match for the women on the Mania card. Um, I will be completely frank with you. I think Becky wins this just because AJ won it already at the Chamber. I think this is just us trying to move some merch and move some tickets that we have AJ Lee going into a WrestleMania for the first time in over a decade as champion. Um, I think that's really all there is to this. And how crazy would the arena go if AJ in her first Mania in over a decade loses the Intercontinental title to Becky Lynch?
Who now has all the reference in the world to go on Monday and be Chris Jericho about ending AJ Lee's reign.
Yeah, and and the short run AJ's had, she already got to defend the title. And she did it in what she said was her dream match with Bailey.
Mm.
Like they've asked her before she came back, if you were to come back, who would be your dream match? And she always said her dream match was to have one against Bailey. So
Does that mean you're telling me there's no possibility that AJ decided that even that she signed a 5-year contract and was maybe gonna be a weekly wrestler?
oh no, like she has every
Because
chance.
in my head, she loses to Becky and she's gone for months again.
No,
If she beats Becky, however, I do believe she starts showing up weekly.
no, she could do that still with losing to Becky because we're gonna be in April. What's in June? Money in the Bank. You know how crazy it would be to have AJ Lee skipping around with that briefcase like the little
Would
psychopath
AJ
that she
Lee
could
do a
be?
ladder match?
Fuck yes.
At yes, you believe
Fuck
so?
yes. At this, what were you gonna say? At this age, absolutely.
Mm. All right, all right. You have hope. You have hope. I admire that. I'm a wrestling fan.
Well,
I won't tell you that now.
I can only say that because she's been off for 10 years. She hasn't wrestled. Her body's not as broken as you would think that it is.
That is very true. That is very true.
She has 10 years of safety and stability that she could do a ladder match and probably
That's
look
true.
like
And she
she.
stayed ripped. She
Yeah.
stayed ripped. So you're probably right.
Don't discredit the crazy one.
Hey, no, no. I was very satisfied with the fact that she's still as good in the ring. So I'm there for it. I just want to see more. Okay. We're off the women. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Shut up and take my money. I'm ready for this. That is the match I'm most looking forward to for WrestleMania. Which in
It's
2026,
probably
I never
yeah.
thought I would say I'm looking forward to a Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania.
Probably the now this is presumptuous. but it's probably the third best story they've told. As far as WrestleMania stories leading up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, haven't told it, haven't spent a lot of time to tell it, but they've done enough in a Brock feud to really build this the way they need to, and it's really Brock being afraid of Obafemi, and not to be that guy, but because I am the black guy on the show, I will say that Brock being afraid of a black guy is hilarious given his track record. So this does feel like, not to quote Kofi Kingston, but like someone is out to avenge us. And Brock being terrified every week is gold. It's good TV, man. It's good
Uh-huh.
TV. It feels like reparations. Now we just need the match to go past 10 minutes. So I like it. I would hope. I would,
That's a high over
I
under.
would,
Now that I'm thinking about that, Jesus, you're saying 10 minutes?
I would hope. I would hope.
Jesus. Look, if we can place
I would
if we
hope
can place
Oba goes
bets on
over.
that. Oh, I want Oba to go over too. But if we could place a friendly wager on that, if the match goes over or under 10 minutes, I'm taking the under.
Listen, if that what's that bet on anything app? Listen, if we could
Yeah.
bet on the money that would be made betting on how long Brock matches last would be
I'm
incredible.
taking the under every time.
You think it's going under 10? How long was the Goldberg match? Was that like 8 minutes?
The one at Mania or the one at Survivor Series?
Oh my god.
Survivor Series was like 3 minutes.
No, no. Okay, then the one in Mania. I feel like one of them went 8 minutes. I feel like AJ
Yeah.
took it the longest. I think AJ made it. He made it like 13 minutes.
Yeah, I think AJ took him to like 12. Goldberg took him to like 8.
Yeah, if we
And
can go,
I thought the 8 was stretching it for that.
if they make it a no rules match, if it's a regular match, then maybe 8. Maybe they'll get 8 because not that Oba can't go, but Oba's
Brock
only gonna do so much.
can't.
But Brock, yeah, but Brock can't, right? So
And not
how
to
long
say
is he
Brock
really gonna go?
can't, it's that Brock won't.
Right, and they're not gonna write a 20-minute Brock match, so it's got to be quick. It's got to be power moves. So it's really all about how long are they going to give them to sell and
We're
how much are they going to give them to do before the finish.
we're getting 3 moves of doom from Brock Lesnar.
Does Brock kick out of the first fall from grace? That first power bomb.
I hope not, but I guarantee you Oba kicks out of the first F5.
I think if they do it, they should do it Baron Corbin style. Baron Corbin was very good at like I'll lose to anyone, but don't let them kick out of the finish. I think as long as we end on the fall from grace and Brock does not kick out and it's only one time we do it, that's enough. Because if you need the F5 to be on the, if you need the fall from grace to be on the level of the F5, it needs to be a done freaking deal.
I was talking to, I forget who I was talking to about this, but I said you have the match start, you have Brock go in, you just start going ham, like you hit him early, and do a couple Germans, get like maybe 3 Germans off, but not the ones you just hold on and boom, 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 let go on that third one. Brock does his little whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
as he's doing it, Oba just stands up and does his thing, like he just ate them like nothing. And then him and Brock get into it again, blah blah blah. More Germans. Brock throws a F5 in there. He goes to pin him. One. As soon as the ref hits that one, Oba kicks out.
Mm.
You don't even make it to 2. Kick out on 1. And then, Brock tries to F5 him again. Kick out again. He tries to go for the third one. As soon as he tries to go for the third one, that's when Oba just starts going at him.
Mm.
And boom, bang, fall from grace.
A few good power moves.
Yeah, like get your power moves in there. Have Brock just sitting there staring like, what the hell? And then fall from grace. 1, 2, 3. Don't even let Brock kick out of the fall from grace.
Mm.
Hell,
And all that momentum suddenly that we were
maybe
supposed to give.
maybe even hit the fall from grace and then think like you're going for the pin, but then just pick him up, give him another fall from grace again.
Mm.
Pick him up, give
Just to
him
make
another one
sure.
again. Yeah, give him like three. Hit one, go down for
Yeah,
the pin, and then be like, no. Pick him up, do your thing, get like two more in, then
I'm
pin
good
him.
with that. Or I'm good with him hitting the fall from grace. Maybe a little taunt, and you see Brock moving, starting to rumble on the
Starting to
ground,
stir. Yeah,
and
yeah.
starting to stir and go like, man, we ain't having that, and then do the other two. I'm with that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
with that. The other boss fight, Drew and Jacob. Don't got a dog in the fight. Not really sure how many Drew matches I can stand to watch anymore. Love Jacob Fatu. Fatu goes over. That's where I'm at on it.
Yeah. Beat the hell out of each other, draw some blood, and draw some money. That's all I got to say.
Bring back Strowman. You know what I'm saying?
Please.
I would much rather have Drew do some eating shows and us have Braun back for a year. It's
Yeah.
getting old, man. It's getting old.
Braun versus Jacob would be
That's a
hilarious.
match. That's a match.
That would be great.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I believe there's only three left. We got Sammy versus Trick for the U.S. title made as we're recording this just last night. Um, how do you feel? Give me your thoughts. I said how I feel. How do you feel about Mello losing the U.S. title after the run that he had with it? How do you feel about Sammy moving from? How do you feel about Sammy switching gears from determining to be a main eventer to slipping into WrestleMania by winning the U.S. title and then immediately getting Trick Williams?
This made no sense in any capacity, shape, or form. I feel like you could have had a fatal four way at WrestleMania and not have included Sammy. You could have
Mm.
just had Sammy been on a rebuild arc throughout this whole thing and then just not put him on Mania and then just have him build his rebuild arc after Mania. I think the way I would have done this US title match, leave it on Mello, and then you do a fatal four way. Mello and Trick, Shinsuke and Tama.
Mo Trick Shinsuke Tama.
Mello, Trick, Shinsuke, Tama. That's what I would have done at Mania.
Right, because we still don't even know where that's going with the whole okay. Shinsuke and Tama thing. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
what's crazy about that? Is that they really don't treat WrestleMania like a stopping point anymore. Because back in the day, you wouldn't even have this B story with the MFTs of Nakamura slowly changing the mind of Tama Tonga if you didn't have a WrestleMania payoff for it. But there's just a part of me that knows there's no payoff for that right now. Um, I don't even think to the point where we're probably not even gonna get a solo Tama match. Maybe not for another month, maybe.
Well, and that's why I said I would have done it that way because Shinsuke's been getting into Tama's ear like, Tama, this isn't you. You know who you are. This isn't the Tama I know.
Hmm.
Trick, he could just be that guy that's like, I'm here. I'm here to do my thing. I'm here to win this title. Tama could be in the match, and Solo could be getting a little jealous, being like, "How did you get a match at Mania, but the rest of us don't?
Hmm.
I'm the leader of the team. It should be my spot. You didn't win your match. I won my match to get in, or however." And then they go to Mania. They do their thing. It looks like Tama's gonna win. Boom! Solo hits him, turns on him, costs him the match. Mello walks out as the champion, or Trick comes out as the champion, whoever. And that's how you set up Tama's little thing with the bloodline and where Tama leaves and becomes his own guy.
Hmm. I there's so many ways to go with what they could have did with the U.S. title. Um, Again, I feel like this was figuring out something for the guys that had a lot of merch, like, and not to undercut nobody, but Yeah, I feel like we weren't gonna get anything with Thomas Solo, so they couldn't do that Fatal Four Way. But also, I felt like for the work they were doing on Trick, for the work they were doing on Mello, that was finally paying off.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a great scenario instead of using Trick to get at Sammy this whole time, and then them both be looking for opportunities and stumble upon a WrestleMania main event simultaneously. It would have been better had we left it to Trick coming at Mello to
Mm-hmm.
get a spot at WrestleMania after, fiddle faddling with fiddle faddling with the main eventers, having the promo segments, whatever. We didn't get the world title opportunity. It's over. It's booked. Trick is looking for other things. Trick is looking for gold. Trick wants a shot at the U.S. title. Who's
Mm-hmm.
got the U.S. title? Mello. Trick got an easy premise. I know I could beat Mello. I beat Mello before. Mello small. Mello just starting to come up. A lot for Mello to say on the mic, a lot for Trick to say on the mic, and you can still have these little backstage segments where you antagonize Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what ends up costing you at WrestleMania. But I don't think we had to take the belt off of Mello, or even if
No.
you let it become a triple threat situation with him antagonizing Sammy, and maybe they have a United States title match early. Sammy interjects, and then they take that to Mania. But I think it was wrong to rob Mello after the months of work he put in to get there,
Yeah.
to just have these are the guys that are doing financially probably better United States title match.
And you honestly probably could have gotten away with that. Now, as bad as this is going to sound, you probably could have got away with doing that on a pre-show, and I wouldn't have been upset with that. I wouldn't have been upset with
Mm.
either one, but I don't think Mello. I'm upset because I don't think Mello had to lose the title for you to do that. That's more my gripe with it. I'm okay with either one of those matches happening. I'm just more upset that Mello has to be the guy to suffer when he's been the one doing the good work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's my whole thing. Mello did a lot of great work to get here. We could have, even if we didn't have a story for Mello, we could have easily.
He's been putting on bangers, so you could have put him in there with somebody, did an open challenge for all I
You
care,
didn't even,
and
yeah,
it would
you
have been a
didn't even
banger.
have to have a story for Mello. You could have just had him do an open challenge, but to not have him on the card anywhere when you could have entered or built a story around him that didn't even have to be about him, but to take it off him before, you know what I mean? Because now Mello doesn't get a spot on the card. What happens now? Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing. They already booked it. They took it from you and booked your belt same
all in
night.
the same night, which is
Don't,
tragic.
you know what I'm saying?
Justice
It's
for
crazy.
Mello.
It's crazy. And then we get into, the two big matches, the two world title matches. And I guess we'll run the last 10 minutes probably on this. Um, so which one do you want to do first? Do you want to present the Randy situation, or do you want to present the Punk and Roman situation?
Let's do the Randy Cody first, because it's quicker.
Okay, we'll do Randy Cody. Um, so Randy Orton wins his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Randy again, like I said with Sam, he's having these conversations about being a little bit selfish. Of course, best friends with Cody Rhodes. They have the contract signing segment where Randy has already kind of determined he's given us voices Randy. And Cody, maybe knowing, maybe not knowing, kind of green lights Randy's reasoning for becoming voices Randy,
Mm-hmm.
and of course suffers the consequences. How do you feel about where Randy's at, the story they're telling, who goes over?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm okay with this only because one, Cody said this is his favorite version of Randy, like outside of the actual wrestling, like the storyline stuff. Cody's always said Voices Randy is his favorite version of Randy. it's the fans' favorite, the favorite version of Randy, and because Punk and Roman have been going so hot with this feud, you got to do something to make people pay attention to you guys. And how do you do that? Turn Randy back into the sadistic SOB that he was before, because that's everyone's favorite version of him. So
Hmm.
they're, as far as writing the story out, they're doing it perfectly. Um, Picking a winner for this, I'm never going to bet against Randy Orton in any capacity, so I'm going Randy Orton.
Hey, I'm all for 15. If there's anybody that's been here long enough to earn it, that has ring work good enough to earn it, that is consistent enough to earn it, I'm not against Randy holding it for 15. Honestly, he's been here long enough that if he was to become champion, there'd be a whole new crop for Randy
Mm-hmm.
to dig in from, which I'm sure they know. So I don't see a situation where you could do much more with Cody that you couldn't do better with Randy at this point.
Yeah.
So I would say Randy, and I'd say it's better for Cody if it is Randy. Um, as far as Cody's character, just because let's face it, Cody on top is not the greatest story.
So,
You know,
real quick, before we go to the next thing, I don't know why, but this idea just came to my mind. Do you think that there's a chance they turn Cody into a Grand Slam champion?
what other titles does he need to win? He won the tag. He
He, ne-
won.
he needs the U.S. title.
He needs the U.S. title. Right. He made the IC title. He needs the U.S. title
And the
from
U.S. title,
Sammy.
the U.S. title's on SmackDown. He's already in the spot to do it. Do you think there's a world they make him a Grand Slam champion?
If the bloodline is getting back together, yes,
Because that
because
gives
I think
Cody.
that
Go ahead.
because I think it gives Cody either the out to win the belt or to lose the belt. Because I could easily see him losing to Randy, and in the misplaced rage of Cody dealing with that, they have exactly the same conversation that Sammy has been having with him,
Mm-hmm.
where it doesn't mean to turn into a fight, but it somehow turns into a bit of a fight. Only this time, Sammy is coming from the angle of being a champion, and Cody challenging him for that, and maybe Solo, and maybe not Solo. Well, maybe Solo, maybe not the MFTs, but maybe Solo in general. But I could see that being a place where Sammy might pull on some old bloodline strings to get some things done, because who from the bloodline wants to see Cody go over? And Sammy might feel personally attacked for no reason and lean on family. And if Solo maybe is the only rogue person there at the time, and he splits from the MFTs after what they going through, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think if Cody comes at Sami Zayn, it's either a Sami Zayn turn or a Cody Rhodes heel turn. And I think it'd be, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I think there's no way to do it where he's not a heel. I don't think Cody exists in any other realm but world title unless he's a heel, because it just isn't justifiable. Like, what reason would you have to come to Sami Zayn if he's not going to do it first, which he doesn't need to anymore? So yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Okay, we're at the last one. I'm not sure how much I have to say on it, so I'll leave most of it to you. Punk and Roman, is it night two? Who do you have winning? What's the real story? I have Roman going over. I have night two, and I have the reasoning just being the spark of the second bloodline story, the second arc of Roman's bloodline story.
Um, yeah, I have.
Especially since the basis of the story is really weird right now. I think they base the story in Return to Bloodline, which is why the family thing is such a basis on it.
Yeah, I'm thinking this. I'm in the same boat as you. Roman goes over. Definitely night two, main event night two. Um, I see some bloodline dynamics coming into play during the match with just the Usos, nobody else as of this moment, just the Usos. Um, and yeah, Roman wins, and we start to get the bloodline resurgence, but instead of the bloodline resurgence being a SmackDown thing now the bloodline resurgence is a Netflix thing. So
Mm.
excited to see where it goes, excited for the match, but Roman and Punk night two main event, Roman goes over this time.
I'm excited to see how they do it as good, if not better, the second time.
I think
Because
you can.
I don't, yeah, I don't feel like they're at a place to fail, unless they don't put it back on Roman. So all hope is that Roman wins and they're able to recreate lightning in a bottle. Um, so anything to put over before we leave? Any preference to um, what happens if nightmare scenario Punk wins?
Um, I don't think it's a nightmare scenario if Punk wins. I think it would make a lot more sense and make stories a lot easier to get across if Roman wins. Um, but if Punk wins, then I feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot, but you could recover. It's not like it's going to be the end of whatever you're building to. It can still get there. It's just you're going to cripple yourself to get there. So instead of just hopefully they can see the exit and they take the exit to get to the next highway instead
Mm.
of just going on the path that the highway is currently going, and then you got to wait until you hit the next exit or are able to make that detour. So hopefully they just take the exit they need to take and jump on that next highway and don't stray from the path.
All right, man. Um, do you feel like it's still gonna be a lackluster Mania? I'll tell you this. Another reason I wanted to look over the whole card as it is today is because I did kind of feel when the matches were coming out that I wasn't super excited about it. Like Drew versus Jacob, not very exciting to me. Uh, Oba Brock, great. AJ Becky, sure. Liv Steph,
Eh,
Jade and Rhea is going to be
eh,
surprising if it works
yeah,
because I don't know how well Rhea's been weird with chemistry lately.
yeah,
And even though I feel like Jade has created a good foundation, I don't know. I feel like somehow Rhea is the problem in the match, and something's just not gonna be right. So it doesn't create a very hopeful environment. I'm morally against Sammy versus Trick, but I understand the impact of the match, and I want Trick to win, so it doesn't help me enjoy it because I feel like that's an easy layup for Sammy. Overall, it's very up in the air for me.
yeah. The card is still for me. Like you just said, Stephanie versus Liv. That's a match that's there purely for aesthetics. That's a match that's there for looks, to be honest. Um, Jade, Rhea, eh. Everyone's there for mommy at this point. Um, AJ Lee versus Becky. That's going to be the best women's match of the card. No debate on it there. Like you said, Jacob and Drew. I don't want to see Jacob and Drew. I'm just tired of seeing Drew on TV. What else do we have? We have Cody and Randy. Look, anything with Randy, I'm biased. I'm gonna love.
Mm.
Punk and Roman. That's your big meal ticket right there. Um, I feel like I'm missing a match or two, but it's okay. So, uh, Sammy and Trick was the other one, right? Sammy and Trick, I don't care for because it makes no sense whatsoever. So the entire card for me is still eh. Like you see the names and the names are like, okay, this could work. But then you think about the stories that are going with them, and it's eh. It's still lackluster for me.
I feel like it's all in all, it's weird that we've arrived at a place where the story guys aren't storying very well at the most pivotal time to have good stories. Um, so that's the weird place that I find myself at. I'm a little unenthused, which is weird as a wrestling fan, but also you are the story place and the stories haven't been storing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the whole reason we're here with the return to form thing. I think AEW caught that with their stuff as well. So I don't know. It's all very rely on the star players being um, the Randy, the Roman, the AJ Lee, even in this case, the Brock. Hate to say it in this case of it all, and even the Rhea in this case, which hey, it's just I don't know. I'll be pleasantly surprised if I walk out of night two going, man, this was a good 2 nights
Mm-hmm.
all the way through. But you hope for the best. Anything to say before we get out of here? I want to put over Steve Macklin. He got injured last night,
Yeah, I saw that was
fighting
kind of
Mike
a rough one.
Santana, which sucks because they had such a good build for them going head to head in that belt, especially with Macklin walking out. Very much sucks that that happened to him. So I want to put over Steve Macklin before we go. But is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Uh, let's just see where the rest of this WrestleMania card takes us, and hopefully they can build some stuff up to make it less meh.
And if I'll leave the people with this, if you do anything, focus on the little things. Sometimes it's less makeup, less color, and just a pair of contacts and a shaved head that'll do it for you.
And
With
maybe
that
some
being
bad
said,
spells.
maybe some past. So, I've been Stevie Jobber.
I've been Dangerous Duke.
And ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast. Please stay up, stay blessed, and as always,
Stay dangerous.
boom.
It's your boy Stevie Jobber. It's your boy Dangerous Dude. The Dangerous Jobbers Podcast.